Focus on the day in an awful way, fold it into myself and fade away. I don't let it get me too far gone. Spend some more money on chasing dreams in hopeless spaces and feeble schemes. Inconclusive findings were stricken with bias. Following thoughts like tiny lights that flicker off into different timelines. Maybe one of them will find a constant glow. 'Cause today is not for dwelling, no. Today is for building a home. Building strong shoulders to bear the load was placing too much faith in isolation. But it's hard to reach out into the great unknown. Fumbling forward with starry eyes that dart across landscapes and faces at the speed of light. Seeking rest on a final flight. 'Cause today is not for dwelling, no. Today is for being alive. Simple words on simple pages, somehow moving us on to another home. Simple smiles on simple faces are beautiful. Sitting in silence by candlelight, breathing slowly and radiating light. Warm colors bleed into the stained glass windows of my soul. 'Cause today is not for dwelling, no. Today is for building a home. No, today's not for dwelling, no. Today is for building a home.
Very nice. Do another one?
All right, let's do it.
All right.
All right, this is a kind of a...
That was beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, that was beautiful.
Yeah.
Dang. Love those harmonics. Can't get enough. If I ever
We're talking all about it. Yeah.
If I ever manage to record any of these, I'm gonna try to persuade you to come in.
Call a guy. Yeah, absolutely. And we know where to go too.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
The
Yeah.
underground. Oh, this is called "Today Is Not for Dwelling."
Okay.
Or no, that last one was called "Today Is Not for Dwelling."
No, wait.
called-
I thought. Oh, that one was.
Yeah, this one's called "Till Your Ghost Is
okay.
Gone."
We're getting our ducks, people.
Yeah,
We
we're
promise.
figuring it
Yeah,
out.
we're figuring it out. Yeah.
Here we go. Gentle musings at the thought of moving on. Tried my hand at a host of wrongs, rushing through the stages in the aftermath of loss. How long will it be till your ghost is gone? Spend my days devising distractions. Some are careless, some are hurtful, some are fun. I tell myself that I know the answers to this all-consuming war. Tried my hand at mindfulness, but it's you my thoughts rest upon. Oh, how long will it be till your ghost is gone? Turning from anguish to anger, this is more than I bargained for. Lest I should fall on an external locus, you're lucky I don't keep score. My internal core was a fire before, and your piles I'm standing on. How long will it be till your ghost is gone? Grasping for control, I'm compounding the battle, taking it to foreign show.
I woke up.
Still you're inside of me, whispering your counsel, my general keeping score. I focus my spyglass, witness the backlash, it's clear I'm still holding on. Oh, how long will it be till your ghost is gone? Till your ghost is gone.
This is already episode number 29. Good morning, everybody. I'm Sammy B. Welcome to another episode of The Tasty Twist with Sammy B. I am your host, producer, local musician, Sammy Blanchette. Thank you, Okemo Valley TV, once again for the platform and all the hard efforts. Shout out to all the guests so far. That's really about the best way I can describe it so far, because we've had a little mixture of everybody, musicians, entrepreneurs, business owners, and everything. For episode 29, you just heard from Beth Monroe. And my apologies, as I mentioned beforehand. I feel like we've already done a podcast episode in the pregame warm-up.
Right.
But I have a notepad with me, but all I have is the name of the episode, the number of the episode, and you. So
Great.
Here we are. Take it away. Your original work is fabulous. And
Thank you.
I actually want to start this interview off with, we met each other before, but kind of in a different way, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I was interviewing you.
You were interviewing me. I know, right? Exactly. For my album, Eventually. Shout out to the Underground Recording Studio in Randolph, Vincent.
Mm-hmm.
I actually read your review on him the other day. I did a little bit of research this morning. Your Facebook. Very nice.
My review
positive,
of the Underground
right?
experience.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great.
So
It's
tell the
fantastic.
audience a little bit about yourself, where you live now, where you're from originally, when you started music. The story begins with you.
The story.
Yeah.
Okay. The story, the Brandy
The story,
Carlisle version.
yeah.
Which is a great song.
Rants with Beth Monroe.
Yes, right. I'm here for this.
Yes.
So I live in Bradford, Vermont. I just moved there with my boyfriend in August this year. We have 2 girls. We're living in a lovely little townhome up there, and our girls are around the same age, which is nice. They get along quite well because they're not siblings, so they get along much better, I think.
What are their names?
Karis and Caitlin. Karis like Paris, but with a C.
So Caitlin's the middle name, obviously.
No, Caitlin is Brant's daughter.
Oh,
and
okay.
Then
Sorry.
sorry.
Sorry. I thought it was one of those situations where you get mad at your daughter and you call them by the first name and then the middle name.
Karis Helena, yeah.
So do you have that as a kid growing up?
No, because my name was really a mouthful growing up. When I was born, my grandfather called my aunt and said, well, they've decided to name her Elizabeth Patricia Monroe for short.
Right. Say that 5 times fast.
It's a long one.
Yeah. That's not even including a confirmation name, right? Like, so mine is Samuel Henry. My apologies for not remembering this. This was like 21 years ago.
Right.
Francis, I think.
Oh, Francis,
yeah. Samuel Henry Francis Blanchett, or John. Samuel Henry John. But it was always funny growing up. We all got in trouble. Let's have a little like humble of humanity right here. We all got in trouble as kids. We did things, blah blah blah. And
I was a perfect angel.
Right? Yeah. Hell's Angels. Or what's that band name? Was that a television show? See, I already don't know.
I don't know. Yeah.
Hell's Angels, Scarlet's Angels.
Wasn't that a biker gang? I don't know.
That could have been in Laconia, New Hampshire.
Yeah, sure.
Bike week. But anyways, no. Whenever I got Samuel Henry, I knew even as a kid, I'm like, ooh, mom means business.
Yeah.
It was mostly mom. So that did that. Yeah, I'm like, ooh, she means business.
All right.
But you probably can't say that nowadays in 2024. But. I
don't know. There's a lot of changes. Parenting for sure.
Are any of the kids musicians yet, or have they begun taking lessons on any instruments?
Caitlin is taking violin lessons.
Very nice.
Karis is a natural vocalist, just like her mother. Yeah. Just kind of at the point where she doesn't, I don't think, feel she needs lessons because she already knows how to do it. No, I'm kidding. She actually, but she is that way.
She's going to skip band, choir.
Yeah, she's already
going to skip all that. Yeah.
She's ready. We already got the album cover ready to go.
Do you have the diploma, music school?
Right. No, I don't have one of those. So.
I have 2.
Yeah, I envy you.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I fake it a lot. I have very small actual musical knowledge. It's very, I do a lot from the heart, but start asking me about modes and keys and
harmonics and
what key is this in? I don't know. I put my hand here.
F7, 16, 21, 5, 7.
Right.
Or that album or song from Rush, 2112. Yeah. What key is this in? 2112. Yeah.
Key of X.
So is she sight reading yet for violin, or just kind of playing by ear?
She is. Yep. She's got an instructor. She goes every week near where we live, and she's loving it. So.
She's staying encouraged with it, the progress?
Yeah, she's really into it. And we can see her progressing. Yeah. Obviously we should probably be on her a little more to practice more often, but she's loving it.
Yeah. It's like, hey, honey, you'll learn about money someday, but it is costing us money to...
Right. Plus the rental of the violin and all of this.
It's a rental.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So she's got a very nice violin.
Is it a Stradivarius, like an actual...
No, but it's a nice one.
Yeah.
It's like a $1,200 violin,
I think I mentioned this in one of my last recordings. You ever watch the Three Stooges growing up?
A couple times.
Yeah. Did you ever see the episode Disorder in the Court where Curly's standing as like testify, like witness or something, and Larry, the guy with the wild hair, the stooge with the wild hair, finds himself in a situation where he's trying to capture a parrot, but he's got a hammer in his hand. I don't know if he's trying to kill the parrot or whatever, but he hits the hammer and it lands on his Stradivarius, his violin.
Oh, no. Nice.
Meanwhile, Moe's yelling at Curly. They're like, hey, what's the matter, wise guy? You're in court. Come here.
That's good. You do it. That's
impersonations with Sammy B.
There you go. Yeah. You got content for years.
Oh, man. Well, you knew that in the interview, right? Back.
Oh, yeah. For sure. For sure.
Yeah, we did talk about the late, great George Carlin in the pregame. So
we did.
Man, if he was alive today,
he'd have something to say.
Oh, boy. Something? Not just something.
To state it lightly.
Oh, goodness. So anyways, living in Bradford now, where did you live for a long time? And you've been at this, being a musician for quite a while, right?
Yeah, I mean, on and off, because you got to pay the bills too.
Yeah.
So I'd say I've
There's
probably
that.
been playing around the Upper Valley area for about a decade or so.
Yeah.
I've been in the Vermont, New Hampshire area for like about 13 years now. I grew up in Baltimore, Maryland,
Oh, wow.
until I was 14, and then I was
Okay.
down in Florida for 10 years, and that's where I went to college.
Where in Florida?
Sort of southern Florida and like Palm Beach Gardens, West Palm area,
Okay.
and then I moved up to Orlando. I went to UCF for
Oh,
for
wow.
college. So.
Wow. So you know about the Villages?
The Villages. I don't think I
retirement center. It's like its own county, just above Orlando.
Oh, okay.
It's like expanded. It's expanded to like 80,000 plus residents now. Which back when my mom's parents were alive and they had a retirement home down there 20 years ago, I think there was like maybe 8,000 people, and now it's like its own county. So
wow.
yeah.
I mean, it's definitely the premier retirement community of the United States for sure.
So you went to Universal and Disney as a kid?
I did. Well, when I was in college, I was lucky enough. I got a resident pass from a friend's parents bought me a resident pass, so I could, or a season thing, so we'd go whenever we wanted as a group of friends. And then I have a friend who actually is an engineer for Disney. He was my roommate in college. She's pretty awesome, and she's an engineer down there now, so she got us in a few times for free.
That's awesome. What'd you study?
History. That's what my degree is in.
History. Very nice. Masters also too, or just bachelor's?
I did a year and a half of my master's in history, and then I did about a year of a special education certification.
Oh, wow.
And then I did another master's degree called Consciousness and Human Potential at Maharishi University in Iowa for about a year and a half.
Wow.
So if I could take all of my postgraduate study and put it together, I might be able to make something out of it. But as it stands, I really have nothing. Just life experience.
You have something in our eyes, you know. So yeah. Speaking of that, you mentioned how not as much knowledge on the instrument. One thing that popped into my squirrel chipmunk sized distracted brain, ADHD. Do you use apps like Canva for social media promoting?
I do. I love Canva.
And first and foremost, before we go any further, how can folks find you online?
Oh, yes. So I'm on Instagram at musing_Monroe. I'm on YouTube at Musing Monroe, all one, thing. And then I'm on Facebook at Beth Monroe Music.
Yeah. And you have a YouTube channel that people can subscribe to also as well.
I do. I don't have a lot of subscribers, so please come subscribe to my YouTube channel.
But getting back to Canva, so you use Canva quite a bit?
I do.
Nice. Nice. For like stickers, promo designs, I'm sure just about everything, right?
Posters, business cards.
Obviously, social media content, you can save it on your phone as a PNG file, and then,
It's nice.
Yeah.
I like it a lot.
Full-time job though, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, and I've done some content creation for other organizations.
Is that right?
Some other musicians.
Yeah.
I worked for the Wheelers Productions for a little while.
Oh, you did? Oh, okay. Shout out to Ty. Shout out to Ty. Yeah.
McCarthy,
Shout out to Ty McCarthy. Yeah.
Very short while. He's got someone who's, I'm sure, far more talented than I was at it now. So, but yeah, I've had a couple little stints here and there. I did a little bit of website work for Chandler Arts Center. So I kind of do some freelance stuff, and I utilize Canva and Photoshop.
It's a good test for your brain, right? Like it's good product knowledge.
Yeah. And I use Wix for website.
Oh yeah.
So that's so easy. Like if you don't have any website development knowledge, which was me, you can get in there and kind of poke around and figure it out pretty simply.
Shout out to my family's business in Connecticut, Blanchette Sporting Goods. I actually helped them design their new website with Wix. And I can agree, Wix is definitely a very user-friendly platform. Yeah. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your career. You've obviously had a bunch of different bands that you've played in over the years.
Yes.
And you've gotten, I'm sure, before day job, which we'll get into that in a little bit also too. But I'm assuming have gone up as high as well over like 200 shows a year, right? Between solo and band?
Between solo and band, probably. Yeah. When I was full-time, right around like COVID era.
Yeah.
When I was performing with Upconscious Mind and then doing some solo stuff, I do think we got around 200, like 180 to 200 that year.
Yeah. What's the style of music you would classify your shows as primarily? So
when I was in Upconscious Mind, we called it indie rock. Well, actually, indie groove rock is what we were calling it.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of fun. And now I kind of tend more toward just the indie folk. just my acoustic stuff.
Who's your biggest, you say you're more a vocalist than a guitar player, but who's your favorite, who are some of like your biggest, I know it's like a top 3 to top 5 like conversation, but it's apples and oranges sometimes is what I'm getting at, but some of your favorite vocalists over the years.
Yeah.
Biggest inspirations.
Well, I've got some that are, more international, and then I've got a few that are more local for sure. I'd say kind of just like the basics, Joni Mitchell, and Ani DeFranco on all fronts. I wish I could play guitar like she does. I had the pleasure of seeing her down in Keene. I won tickets off of the river. Thank you, Stevens Blanchard. And I actually win a lot of stuff from that radio station.
That's good.
Because I comment on their posts all the time. That's all you got to do.
It's amazing, right? Yeah. Well, and actually that's a great segue we'll get to momentarily. The way people / celebrities are connected now. Like you can end up meeting some of your heroes just from like a post on Facebook or Instagram, and there are people like contact you and everything.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. So who else? Who else as far as influences?
So I listened to a lot of Norah Jones when I was growing up. I loved Norah Jones. My dad and I had a 36-foot trawler boat, and we took it all over the place. And that was just 2 of us growing up and a couple cats. And so on the boat, we'd always listen to, Squirrel.
Where?
It's my cat.
I am Oz, the great and powerful.
I'm gonna bring my cat next time.
Yeah. Oh, hey, you want to talk about bumping up viewership for the station and for this podcast? Yes. Sorry, you may continue.
We had the 3 Bs. The Beach Boys, the Beatles, and Bob Marley.
Wow.
So those are our staples when we were on the boat. And
you forgot another big one. Hopefully he won't be offended if he ever catches wind of this. Bob Dylan.
Oh, well, yes. I mean, he wasn't a regular on the boat, but...
say my name. Everybody else is strum my guitar. It always sounds like a question mark.
I like that.
And you can make any song sound like Bob Dylan singing it,
I suppose so. Yeah, if you put a little inflection at the end.
Let's combine. Here you go. Let's combine Bono from U2 and Bob Dylan. I want to run and I want to hide. I want to tear down the walls that hold me inside. Right. She moves in mysterious ways. Big U2 fan now?
I'm actually, I definitely dig U2 for sure. Yeah, I used to listen to them a lot when I was driving around when I was living in New London. Driving back and forth from New London to Newbury. I was living with my father in Newbury. I had family.
New London, Connecticut? Or New Hampshire. Oh, okay. So so Newbury is... pretty
close. Just maybe...
Yeah, that's actually the town of Mount Sunapee, right?
Yes.
I should know all the years I've been skiing there. Yeah. Cute little area.
It is.
I like New London. I like... what's the other ones? Sunapee, Newport, Sutton, Bradford. There's a Bradford, New Hampshire. Yeah. Squirrel. I was getting the Bradfords mixed up there. Yeah. Anyways, Norah Jones, you mentioned. Are you familiar with her being a special guest on Amos Lee's debut album back in the late 90s or 2000?
I was not.
You know Amos Lee?
I do. I love his version. I cover his version of Sweet Pea.
Oh, yeah. Wait, so that's not his song?
No.
I play it all the time, too.
It's a great song.
It is.
I think it's like, before I say that, I'm pretty sure it's like sort of like a nursery rhyme sort of song, but I don't know who originally
It sounds like a You Are My Sunshine type song.
Right, which I also do.
Because it makes people happy.
Kids,
it makes people happy when the skies are gray.
Well, it's funny though that You Are My Sunshine song. If you really listen to the verses, it's a pretty rough song. It's about someone's heart getting broken.
It doesn't fall under cancel culture though, right?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I think we're good.
Oh, you never know. We think that's off limits there. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. Did we complete the inspirational? Yeah.
Let's
did
see.
we?
I got a couple
going.
more. Madeline Peru. I love her.
Okay.
She's very like Louisiana blues, jazz.
Yeah.
She sings in French a lot. I love the French language. I can't speak it, but I love it.
Oui. That's all I know. Yeah.
I don't know more than that. And then Katie Melua, who is a British artist. She does a cover of Just Like Heaven by...
who's that? Yeah, Just Like Heaven.
The Cure.
Oh,
Yeah. So they were the original, and then she does a cover of it that's just gorgeous, and I model my cover after hers. So I do a lot of like covers of covers.
yeah, sure.
So I
yeah.
look a lot.
Yeah. Well, again, going back to the protecting ourselves from copyright stuff, like out at shows or places that, have the licensing thing or whatever. It's like, oh, is that Stir It Up by Bob Marley? Maybe. I don't know. It's someone else doing a version.
Yeah. Sounds kind of like it, but
all right. We're not going to whop them for that. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah. What was I going to ask you? So I have a lot of things to ask. But you like solo work or being in a band more?
It's a great question. Yeah. Well, so I'm in a duo right now called the Sleepy Weasels. We've had one release.
I like that name.
Right?
Yeah.
Dave Cron, he came up with the name.
Yeah.
He's a guitarist out of the Randolph area. And so we recorded at the Underground. We've had one release called Intercom. And
Was that the one that was back a couple of years ago?
It was like a year ago. Yeah, I think it was released. And then we were working on another one called Fever Dream.
Okay.
That's right now. We've kind of done our parts and we're getting some other musicians in on it now.
Oh, very nice.
Dave's sort of the mastermind behind that. I kind of do the vocals and then kind of let him do his thing because it's sort of, he wrote the song, it's his vision. And then Intercom was written by a good friend of his and we recorded it. But
what would you say, is there a particular theme behind your original work? Like a feeling emotionally
catharsis. Which is, I guess, is everybody, right?
Sure.
Usually when I write, it's I want to get something out. I've got something welled up and it's just my expression. So it's funny. I have a very strange songwriting process. I don't really...
Yeah. Tell us about that. Do you start with vocals or do you write the structure of the song first? Or?
So it varies. It's like all over the place. Sometimes I'll have written some lyrics and I'll just, like 7 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I have like a couple lyric books that I just carry around with me. And then someday I'll just pick up the guitar and be like, oh, I think I've got something that I'm playing.
Isn't it amazing how you can remember to connect both of those together as so much time passes by? It's wild, isn't it?
It is. Yeah. It's like I got this little filing like, oh, that one might work. Yeah.
Yeah. Meanwhile, if you actually did an x-ray of someone's brain, imagine it'd be like, oh, okay, that little pea soup sized molecule back there. Yeah, that's a binder of lyrics like remembered in the person's.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Now we know what we should have gone to school for, neurology.
Right? Oh, I'm fascinated by neurology. That's where when I studied consciousness and human potential, there was a lot of focus.
That was a class?
It was a master's degree program that I was in. I didn't get too terribly far. It was a very spiritually centered program. So we learned I learned some Sanskrit and but if I had progressed, there would have been a little bit more focus on studying the brain. And
did you ever take marketing classes or like music appreciation classes for like gen ed requirements?
I took
choice?
Yeah, I took a music appreciation course in college. Never a business class.
Yeah,
but I've done like seminars and stuff I find free stuff.
Yeah,
because trying to waxing and waning as an entrepreneur.
Have you ever been full-time enough work-wise with being a musician that you can essentially go LLC or you treat it like a business as far as taxing purposes, write-off and stuff? Like, is there a business element that you've developed or learned about of how to manage your music career over the years?
I've learned what not to do.
That's always a good start. Yeah.
We had when I was in Of Conscious Mind, we were doing that under Om Productions LLC, and we had Om Mani Mama, which was a DBA, which we did the T-shirts under, and then we did some other art stuff, like I did face painting and stuff at farmers markets and things like that. So that was fun.
That's great.
But what that ended up being was just like too many things, and I think that was the lesson learned. I was too varied in all these different things trying to bring in. And that was when I was kind of full-time. Yeah. Everything. And it was too many streams of income. I mean, you want multiple streams of income, but sometimes you can get to the point where you spread yourself too thin. And that's exactly what I did.
And I'm sure you probably dealt with a challenging thing that I'm still trying to master is because there's so many different services that we offer. It's a couple of red flags in multiple areas of we don't know how to say no. And that's like a very critical thing that you have to start learning at some point in your life. And I've been the guilty person number one of that, like is being a yes man for a lot of things. That's work and personal life, friendships and all that stuff. But it's also what do you manage your time with? Like what's more of a priority? Now you have to make like a priority list of like, hey, what's like most important? And we're not even talking about the fact that, you have a daughter, you got, a personal relationship also as well too. A day-to-day existence of a yes person could be quite challenging and stressful.
Yeah.
I
remember the last time I actually sat down and like watched a TV show.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have a TV set up in our house.
Yeah. That's kind of, by the way, shout out to Okemo Valley TV because you can.
If I did, I would solely watch Okemo Valley.
You can watch on
TV.
Comcast and VTEL all the episodes of the Tasty Twist with Sammy B, including this one a couple months down the road, and all their media services. They also have a mobile app and a YouTube channel and a website, okemovalley.tv. But anyways, back to that. So, it's in a good way or a bad way. We don't have time.
Yeah. So true. You're doing all of the things.
Yeah. Except Seinfeld, as we mentioned, and Pinky and the Brain,
right.
and the Three Stooges. Yeah. So how many albums, EPs do you have out total for release right now?
So I've got, with Of Conscious Mind, we did a 3-song demo in 2021, which was all just live recorded at the Underground. We were all in one room, just go, and everybody all at once. So like the drums are on the vocal mic,
Yeah.
But Vincent's amazing.
Drum circle, yeah. No, he's so professional. I know you mentioned that in your review of Awesome too. I totally agree. The professionalism. We talked about that in the interview as well too.
Yeah. I was incredibly impressed with how he was able to take like just all of us playing at once in one room and make it sound like pretty professionally produced. That was pretty awesome.
I think it says something when he not only owns like that portion of the building, but owns the business, and something that he's so incredibly passionate about. It really shows in his work for sure. Yeah.
That's somebody who figured out his path and is doing the thing.
Absolutely. Yeah. As we're all trying to find that path to some degree. Yeah. But anyways, continue. Yeah. Back to the albums and EPs and stuff.
So we had that. It was a self-titled just demo. It was our first ever in 2021, a 3-song demo. We had a we had a demo release party on New Year's that nobody attended. Not one person. It was at
the Wizard of Oz. Yeah.
It was rough. We were like,
Okay.
All this alcohol's for us.
It's like okay, are we playing the length of our entire set, or are we cutting it early?
Right.
Yeah.
And then we had a release in 2023. That was our 5-song EP called Spell Words. I think it was last year.
Right.
And that was a really cool project. I mean, we brought in a couple of other musicians. Ethan Lawrence and Jacob Breitbach. So Ethan played some lead guitar on one of the tracks, and Jacob, the fiddle ninja, played fiddle on one of the tracks. So that was really fun to work on. And that was, fully produced and tracked and everything at the Underground.
And all your music via Bandcamp or DistroKid is on the big platforms like Spotify, Apple, Amazon, iTunes, just to name a few, right? Correct?
Yep.
So,
we do the DistroKid thing.
Yeah. And they can just search you under Beth Monroe.
It probably have to go by the band name. Although, I don't know, I might have thrown Beth Monroe in there somewhere.
Yeah.
I don't really have anything that I've actually released under my name.
Yeah. I was about to say, are you going to go in the studio to do like any solo work? Like
I
under
want
your name?
to. I'm sort of, finding the right time. But the Sleepy Weasels is my other thing.
I just absolutely love that name.
Great, right? We released one Intercom, and then we're working on Fever Dream now, so we don't have a release date for that yet, but yeah, I mean, I would love to. I have a few originals. I may Dave has encouraged me to say we could release a couple of under the Sleepy Weasels name, and so I may do that. There are a few that are sort of close to my heart that I do want to release under, maybe like as a single, as my first solo release, so we'll see.
How do you know when the time is right to record a song?
Boy, when you have the money.
Ain't that the truth? Ka-ching.
I mean,
that should be the name of the album, Ka-ching.
Right? Yeah.
No, but like emotionally, when is the time right, do you find to... I guess it just depends on a certain wave of life, right? Like just...
Yeah, it's sort of like when it comes together, and I've noticed like I don't like anything in life at all, but especially musically, to feel contrived in any way.
Or rushed.
Or rushed, right. So I'm really...
I don't know if those words both mean the same thing. They might.
I think, yeah, I would say contrived, I think implies to like a, not just rushed, but like sort of pushed, you know, like with sort of like,
hey, we have to meet a deadline. We have
like
to,
aggressive effort.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
It just makes
That's
me
like
feel
the used car sales approach that you don't want to like apply to. It's like, this is art, man. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, let it happen. Yeah.
Which, you know, I think there has to be a balance because, and I think Vincent would argue this too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He's a man of excellent balance between like deadlines and professionalism and then the artistic flow.
Yeah.
And you know, he gets that. And I think that's what I generally kind of, that's the sweet spot, right? We try to hit that where, you have to push it forward. There has to be some effort that might feel a little at times.
Right.
But
well, because you want to stay, we're doing this mostly for our own emotional sanity.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, if you're doing it to make a career out of it or like put food on the table, there's also finding that balance of staying relevant with your audience, whoever your audience is. And so they could always want to be looking for the next EP or the next album to come. So like most things in life, moderation, like finding balance with anything, and it's all relative in a lot of great. Yeah, exactly. When did you first start performing in front of people to some capacity, whether it was open mics, not making any money, made a little bit of money, like as a fill-in artist, or doing it for full-time living? When did you start performing in front of people live?
So, I mean, if we're going way back, it would be like in high school. I went to a school for the arts. So I was in choirs. And so that was kind of how I got my start. And then the solo work that we did do was opera based. So my background is sort of in classical and opera. So I sang some arias and ariettas. And
when did you start taking lessons for singing?
It was the high school that I went to kind of provided all of that.
Yeah,
so
but nothing before high school, right? And just kind of
nothing formal. No, I'd taken piano lessons. I took piano lessons for about 12 years.
Sight reading also too.
Yeah. So I've done all the things.
Did you find it hard, sight reading?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I struggle with it immensely.
Yeah.
I like guitar better because it's just chords.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
as long as that's all you're playing.
Yeah. So, contrary to that, being a music major myself, I did have to sight read for guitar, and like piano lessons when I was 5, then getting a degree in music, I have always SUCKED. That's not a swear word. I just felt like actually spelling that out. I have never been good at sight reading.
Really? That surprises me.
I can do it.
Yeah.
I can do it. But I love playing by ear so much more. Ear, it feels more organic and
100%.
Yeah. But anyways, and then I don't know if you touched on this already. Before performing in front of people, combined guitar and singing, when did you start picking up a guitar?
In college. Yep. So
okay.
I wrote a couple songs in college. I don't really play those too much anymore. One of them was actually lyrics that it was a song I wrote in college, and then I sort of changed it and it became an Of Conscious Mind song later in life. And that was Yesterday. So that's on the demo. Okay. That came out in 2021. So that I wrote those lyrics in college, and Matt had been like playing, and I was like, I think I've got some lyrics that'll work for that. It's another song, but I'm willing to scrap that because I think it's crap anyway.
Yeah.
So college is when I started. I picked up a guitar. I think a friend of mine had one, and I just kind of started messing around on it, learned a couple chords and wrote a couple songs. And then I kind of put it away for like a few years. When I was like thinking of joining the Peace Corps, finishing my degree, am I going to go to grad school? What am I doing with my life? I was thinking I wanted to go into the historical field.
The quarter life crisis portion of things, or just that. Yeah,
and I kind of just put music on the back burner and thought I was going to like do historical research for my whole life until I found out how cutthroat that is.
Right.
And really, there's so little funding, and it's all kind of about peer reviews and tearing apart your peers' research. It's not a very welcoming field. I guess it can be if you're in the right realm, but overwhelmingly, there's so little funding out there for research that it's kind of about making your vision stand out. And academia is not a very supportive community. I didn't personally find. So as as much as I love research, I mean, I did an internship at the Orange County Regional History Center where I did a research report on the cattle industry in Central Florida. Yeah. I love cows. Secret fun fact about me. I love cows.
So you like cheese, milk, and ice cream.
Well, yes, all those things. Absolutely. Especially cheese.
Yeah. Favorite flavor ice cream as we're doing like rapid fire here?
Pistachio.
Pistachio. Wow. Nice. So does Erica. Erica likes pistachio also.
Good.
So yeah. Chocolate chip cookie dough.
Yeah. Can't knock it. It's good.
Yeah. And also being in Vermont, maple creamies. We love our maple creamies
Of course.
here. Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah. Sorry. Anyway, squirrel brain.
That's
So
okay.
fun fact, you like cows.
Cows.
I was going to bring this up. You were mentioning like how, historical research can be like cutthroat. I feel like every industry to some degree, especially the music industry, can definitely be cutthroat. But I think more on a smaller localized perspective of the arts and entertainment here in Vermont, New Hampshire, I feel there's much more healthy competition. Don't you think?
100%.
As far as all of us helping out each other, whether it's this podcast or like us referencing another musician, if we can't do a gig because we're already like pre-booked, I think especially with the youth movement, like people younger than us, we're like mid to late 30s. There's a lot of like really young, talented cats around here that everybody seems like they're really supporting each other. I find like in the local industry here.
Totally different from academia, like in every way. I've never felt, especially in this community where there's so many of us. I mean, there's such a concentrated amount of musicians. Incredible talent in just our weird little like Upper Valley sort of like home. It's very like just compared to even just the rest of the country. It's kind of amazing because we're not like a city. But anyway, so yes, I found
we're a big tourist attraction in the country. Vermont, New Hampshire, and
especially
New
right
England.
now.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, fall foliage. Yeah, we had snowage recently up on the mountains.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
we had some snow in Orford.
There's a ton of snow up on Mount Washington right now, obviously because of the elevation and everything. But we talked about this before the actual recording. It's one of the things I've really loved about the challenges of doing this podcast for 3 months now is people I'm formally meeting for the first time. And you're just throwing an original like at me and away we go. And we just make it. It's fun, uncomfortable, challenging work. And I love it. You know, just, okay. I'm just going to noodle and just listen. It trains your listening ears. And you could see that we're having fun, like this engaging as well, too.
That was awesome.
Yeah. And also like, hey, in a way, we're kind of doing God's work by just throwing like a random interview like this on the fly and just say, who cares? This is fun. All the things, right?
How it flows. Yeah. All about the flow.
Yeah. Tell a little bit about balancing work life and your daughter.
No, that's my biggest challenge right now is balancing everything. And I've had the fortunate, I've been very fortunate that recently I've been booking a lot more gigs and doing more things related to music. And having done music full time in the past, it was easier to just focus on that and family. And, you know, it felt good. But now throw a full-time job into the mix. And I'm still trying to do, you know, music as much as I can. And of course, full-time mom. And it's like, it's a lot. It can be a lot. I had to set really good boundaries with certain things. And the music has kind of hit the sort of the bitter end of that, I guess, because, you know, like it's a nighttime gig primarily, not always. You know, I played a farmer's market on Saturday that was
I saw that,
10 to noon.
Where was it, out in Richmond or
Randolph?
Randolph. Okay, yeah.
Randolph Farmer's Market. It was great. I got a lot of spoils from that one. I brought you maple candy from there.
Yeah, you did?
I have to give it to you before I leave.
I
left it in my car.
We'll go get it.
We'll go get it.
Yeah. We're going to go get it, folks. We're going to go.
back.
We'll be right back. No, we're staying here. Yeah. Squirrel. There it is right over there. Yeah. Were there squirrels running around the farmer's market?
I didn't see any.
Yeah.
No.
Chipmunks? Gophers?
No.
Beavers?
Not too many animals.
Cows?
No, I wish there was a cow.
Komodo dragons? Giraffes? Disney World. I stayed at Disney World a couple years ago. Animal Kingdom Lodge.
But
that safari is beautiful. On one side, it's the safari. The other side, it's dockside bar.
Yep.
Yeah. Poolside bar. Poolside bar. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. You have traveled quite a bit already in your young career. Do you like to travel in your downtime?
I do. And I haven't always had the opportunity to. What's nice is I sort of do now-ish. So one way that I travel is I combine work with travel.
Yeah.
So between my boyfriend and I, so he owns an auto
Business
detailing
expenses,
business,
right off. Business
right?
expenses.
And a paid vacation.
Paid vacation.
So he does this thing called the Porsche Experience. He's a professional auto detailer and he details for Porsche. And he does several of their tours. So they basically do this thing where they
So like trade shows?
No, so they buy brand new Porsches at this company at the beginning of every year, like 17 to 18 brand new Porsches.
Wow.
And then people pay an obscene amount of money to just go out and drive them around these beautiful locations. And, they stay in these beautiful hotels and all this. Well, so my Brant is one of their detailers. And so he comes in and he details the cars while they're, parked at one of the spots on the tour. And I've helped him do this a few times. So we went out to Tahoe in September.
Oh, wow.
And he has a friend out there who helped us out and who's also a musician.
Wow.
Did
you get to play a gig out there?
I did. Well, I played an open mic.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So Greg Brown, who actually used to run the open mic, he used to be out here. He used to run the open mic at Skunk Hollow in Harlem.
Oh, no kidding.
And he's put out a few albums himself.
The Skunk has so much history, man.
Right?
That's great.
Right? So he's out in Tahoe now. He runs an open mic out in Truckee, California.
Oh, wow.
So he got, I did a little spot there. And so that's going to hopefully be an annual thing. We'll go out and detail 17 ridiculously expensive cars.
Yeah.
And then, we did 17 cars in one day.
Yeah.
And then we went out to open mic and I played music. And I can't tell you how tired I was the next day. It was like, oh my God. And then
did your daughter make the trip up there?
No. But maybe next year.
Yeah.
It was just the two of us this year. It happened to be on a weekend.
Get her to play violin at the open mic, right?
Yeah. Well, Caitlin, so my stepdaughter's the one who does the violin.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Mine, she's a gymnast.
Oh, okay.
So that's her thing. She's a vocalist as well. She loves to sing. And she did ask me recently if she could start doing voice lessons, which I was like,
yeah, that's awesome. Hey, never forget business cards and stickers when you go out there too, because I know you say like music could be on the back burner, but if you have the fire in your heart and soul to always be a musician, you can always constantly just, work in the studio. You could work on the tech side of things also too. There are other avenues of the music industry. It's not just like, hey, playing out in bars like 9 to 1 o'clock in the morning,
right?
Which, I agree. I've been doing that like professionally 15 to 20 years now myself. The hours are they're taxing. And I know there may not be as much money involved like with working as a studio musician or, working in the studio, but it's another avenue. Sure. And you can lend a helpful hand to up and coming artists as well too. So absolutely. You can always have that on the back burner. Yeah.
Vinny's got me on his list. So he's giving me a little bit of work, which is nice. Well, that's how I got linked up with Dave for the Sleepy Weasels, actually.
Oh, wow.
Was with Vincent's recommendation.
Yeah. That's awesome. How was driving a Porsche, by the way? Back to that.
So I did drive one. I didn't want to.
Is it as sportsy as everyone says?
Yeah, it's like a rush. So they have a professional driver on staff who is our contact, and he took me out in one, and we got to like 110 on a straightaway.
Wow.
And I'm like holding on, like, but I didn't drive it that fast.
Did you make sure Waze said there were no cops in the area, or?
I don't. It's like another life. Like I feel like if it's that car, they just don't even care.
It's like motorcycles, right? Yeah. Like eventually at some point, there's like 15 of you. Like just keep going. Nothing to see here. Yeah. Don't crash in any guardrails or anybody. Nothing to see here.
But it's cool. Like we got to video them all coming in. And and he's going to be doing it again next year.
It's a fantastic experience.
I think there's one in Texas next year, so we'll be able to travel there.
That's a fantastic experience. Yeah. Do you have a favorite place? We'll just stay in the United States, but favorite place in the country you haven't been to yet that is on your bucket list?
Ooh, that I haven't been to yet? There's so many.
Yeah.
Well, I'd love to go to like the Southwest. So I'd love to visit Arizona. That's one place that I've never
been there once.
Yeah.
And I went in November. I was young. I was 14, but it was like the most perfect weather, like 75 and like 49 at night, dry heat. The dry heat, totally different. Yeah. I would go back there. We flew into Phoenix, obviously, and we spent time in Scottsdale, so that's where we're familiar with. Nice. But it was just, I would solely want to go for the Mexican food.
Yeah.
You guys like to cook? Segue.
So Brant cooks.
Yeah. As we were talking about Mexican food a lot in the pregame. So
yeah. And he loves his Mexican food as well. So
yeah.
authentic. He's all about authenticity.
How about when this came up in mind? Oh, a couple places. I'm thinking of my last big road trip. Glacier National Park in Montana is beautiful.
Oh yeah, I've never been there. I'd love to go to Jackson Hole also.
Yeah, Yellowstone's beautiful also too. Been the Jackson, yeah. Mount Rushmore could be cool also too.
There's another one.
Yeah.
Grand Canyon.
Yeah, it'd be fun spending a day or two out in Grand Canyon. Yeah, that's right. But Tahoe is on my bucket list that I want to go to. Yeah. Do you ski or snowboard?
So that was a question that you had put on your list of questions, and I'm like,
Good. So, I finally got one out of it.
Currently, no, but I will be this season.
Yeah.
So when I was 14, my father, I was living in Maryland, or maybe I was 13. My father took me up to Round Top, Pennsylvania.
Oh,
and
okay. I've heard of that place.
Started skiing, hated it. Moved over to snowboard, loved it.
The dark side.
So I did a season of
Shout out to Dark Side Snowboards in Ludlow, by the way, too. Shout out.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I did a season of snowboarding when I was literally like 13 years old, and I loved it. And then the following season, I was fortunate enough to have a friend who lived out in Colorado. They flew me out to Colorado, and I did a season out there snowboarding.
Where in Colorado?
She lived in Glenwood Springs.
Okay.
So I can't remember what. I was so young. I can't remember like what mountain we were on.
Yeah.
Or anything like
Maybe
that.
I'll pass it next week. I'm going out to Colorado for a week with my girlfriend. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Well, we went to the hot springs too.
Oh,
so
we've been to
cool.
Which one did we go to? There's a couple of different ones, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. All I know.
The hell was this one called? Oh God. God, I'm drawing a blank. That's terrible. And it was only 2 years ago. Oh, well, back to music. Perfect segue. We saw Ziggy Marley open up for Jack Johnson at Fiddler's Green Amphitheater out in Glenwoods, just south of Denver and just north of Colorado Springs.
That must have been
Greenwood
amazing.
Village, I think is the name of the place, I want to say, or Greenwood's Village, I think is what it's called, and then Fiddler's Green Amphitheater. But also been the Red Rocks. Oh, there we go.
I'd love to go to
Red Rocks. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah. I've seen video of a lot of people performing at Red Rocks, like Humphreys McGee.
Yeah.
Who's phenomenal.
Yeah. Do you like Mo also too?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I got a Mo on my Pandora. Got a Mo Pandora station.
Yeah. Humphreys is incredible. I like when they're completely stripped down like acoustic and not electric guitar. When they do like just like the two guys are doing acoustic guitar, their sound is just so good.
Versatile. And it's insane how coordinated it is for like sounding like a jam, you know, but everybody knows.
Yeah. Well, you can tell, I mean, you can tell the prog rock influences there. Like you can think of other bands you can lump in with their sound, say like Dream Theater or Rush, as far as the progressions and stuff. It's awesome. I saw them one time. I seen Mo 2 or 3 times. Oddly enough, when I was 16, my uncle's band, Electric Mayhem, played on the VIP side stage at the Meadows in Hartford, Connecticut. They did like an hour-long show in front of a couple thousand people, like as they were wandering up near the lawn and their seats and everything. But it was in support of Mo and the Allman Brothers Band.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Very cool.
I was going to segue into this. Are you a fan of Tedeschi Trucks Band?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I can't say I'm like a super fan. But, they got a good jive.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Susan's been an incredible vocalist for years. And Derek is one of my all-time favorite guitar players, man. Oh, he's just so good. Yeah. Fantastic. Awesome. Last big question I wanted to ask you. We kind of did rapid fire questions on this. But when we did our interview earlier this year, and you had the FaceTime recording of the interview, and then you had like the nice write-up and everything. Thank you, by the way.
Yeah,
I really appreciate that. Do you do those interviews often? I know you mentioned it's like in support kind of the underground and Vincent's work and everything, but have you done published articles and interviews like that a lot for folks or?
So that was a project that I had intended to be exactly that, an ongoing blog, essentially, where I was going to do releases from the underground, opinion pieces. I had a friend of mine, Jamie Gage, who was going to do a bit on activism in music. And what happened with that project, Grow Local Music, was I put so much energy and effort into it when, and it just kind of grew and was getting really great. And then I just had so much happen to me personally in my life right around that time, a lot of change and transition.
Yeah.
So I haven't really touched it since probably right after your interview. So I interviewed Brianna Elaine, who's going to be the next.
Shout out to Brianna.
Shout out to Brianna, and donate to her GoFundMe.
Yes, she's dealing with a serious medical issue right now. So yes, please shout out to Brianna, and I hope you feel better, Brianna. Yeah.
And I owe her because she took the time into the interview with me, and then everything happened, and I didn't get a chance to ever do the write-up.
Yeah.
But she was lovely.
She's a phenomenal singer-songwriter. I had her on an episode. Her episode's actually doing really well right now, viewership-wise and everything. So check out that. That was episode 14 or 15 of the Tasty Twist. Check that out. But yes, continue. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, her release Seedlings.
Yeah.
So that, which is just phenomenal. I mean, my daughter and I dance to a lot of the songs on that pretty regularly.
Have you checked out her new song?
Yes, the one that she produced with Bo Thayer. Yeah. It's fantastic. And what a great cause. So that's what we had interviewed about. Right. When she did her interview with Grow Local Music, was the story behind that, and her friend who passed away from an overdose, and how she was so committed to really getting the word out and donating to Turning Point in Rutland. Because that's it's such a crazy epidemic.
I know.
I mean, so many people.
All over the country.
I don't think you can find somebody who doesn't at least know somebody that has had some kind of brush with with either opioids or some form of addiction.
Anything. Yeah. No. And it speaks to, I think it speaks to the nature of how challenging life can be sometimes, and the best. I think the best medicine for anybody that is struggling could really be to just have open, honest conversations with people, and really kind of having that support group, whether it's like one person, whether it's like a significant other, mom and dad, being able to like comfortably chat with someone about anything could be, or like an album also too, like an album, like, service to the community, skiing, like any sort of that stuff can help someone get out of like the mental rut while using the substances. Definitely. I think so. But yes, Brianna Elaine is definitely making a huge impact with that. And
where the snakes live.
Where the snakes live. That's right. Yeah. It was either where the snakes fly or the snakes live. I remember
where the snakes live. Yeah.
But
and it's great. It's a great tune.
She works so hard too from the social media end as well too. Yeah.
She is all in.
Yeah,
sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Very inspiring.
But anyway, so just back to like write-up stuff. So could you see yourself getting back into that if like the stars align, just doing that a little bit more?
Yeah, I'm waiting until it feels right. I mean, the site is still there. I've got everything in place, and I had plans to grow and do more things. So I think right now I'm focusing on my solo stuff, because that's what's paying the bills. Gigging is the biggest thing. But yeah, I would love to be able to, when the time is right. But that's what I have talked about it with my boyfriend a little bit. And it's like, it really needs to, I'm waiting until it really feels, I don't want it to feel contrived or forced. So I'm really waiting until I can feel like I can jump into it and not feel like it's a burden on all these other things that I'm juggling. But I was, I was very passionate about it. I love local music. I love supporting local music. Part of it was, I do the interview, I buy the CD if there's a CD, and I was so proud of my little array of local music artists that I could listen to whenever I wanted. And then I put together a Spotify playlist, several Spotify playlists that I was curating. You're on like a bunch of them, and that was fun, getting in there and just adding new music and connecting with musicians. And I was working on a database of all New Hampshire and Vermont local musicians that was searchable by genre, location, and one more.
So because we were talking about this in the warm up, as we were talking, like Okemo Valley TV is well on its way for having its own radio station as well too, and when you were creating playlists, did you have to get, I mean, you obviously have my support on using any of my music, but did you have to get permission and approval from the artist firsthand?
I typically did. I would reach out and be like,
just
hey,
like that communication end, right? Just
absolutely.
be like, like what's this for? And copyright issues, all that stuff. Yeah. So
it's just like the Spotify playlists that I made that are public playlists anyway, that are just, it's linked to, and I would just kind of advertise those. But yeah, in general, I would usually reach out, or I would put out social media posts and say, hey, do you want to get your stuff on the playlists? And people would say, yes, please. These are the 3 that I'd always say. I give everybody gets 3, up to 3 on the main playlist. And then I kind of had, because that was everybody, every genre, every, and it was huge. So then I had smaller playlists, like I had Acoustic Valley Cafe. You were on that one.
Awesome.
And then I had like what did I call it? I had like more of a funk kind of style one. It's been a minute. I had a country one. So, because then people could listen by genre. I know they're listening to all local music. I had some
humans
plans.
like having choices.
So you can pick your genre and listen to, and you're listening to local Vermont, New Hampshire artists when you listen to that playlist. And they were getting big and some traction. And then I had a plan because the Spotify has this thing called soundtrack your brand, where restaurants can pay, it's like $50 a month to legally play Spotify playlists in their establishments.
Kind of like a different version of ASCAP, sort of.
Sure. Yeah. Well, I think it's probably something.
Or it's just like a membership, like a membership, like through the Yeah.
So they're paying for the rights essentially to play the Spotify playlists. And so my goal was to approach artists who were on these playlists and build specific playlists that restaurants could pay the fee to play them legally. And then we would highlight an artist with like a bulletin board and put their QR code up. And there's so much that we had planned. Yeah. And this would be like local cafes and restaurants and stuff.
It's a great production concept though, like putting all that together. And like you said, there's so many different things that you can touch upon and like barely scratch the surface on.
That's what it felt like. Yeah. So many avenues. And I do think I'll pick it back up at some point.
Yeah. It kind of feels, we can lump all this together of writing and releasing like original music, writing a book, doing interviews and then publishing that. They're all unique ways of expressing who we are as individuals. And that's like one of my favorite parts about being an artist. I would imagine you probably feel the same way or similar, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For sure. It's all about expression.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple last questions to wrap things up. How do I word this? What would you say is your favorite part about playing live in front of people, as far as the experience, the playing for yourself, the playing to the crowd? What gives you like the most passion when you're performing for 2, 3, 4 hours solo or band? Yeah,
I think just like that shared experience. I don't know. It's like a high. You get going and you can feel the energy and the vibration in a room shift. Especially like I love those moments where I'll play something that's really kind of more heavy hitting and people are jamming, but then I'll play something really more mellow and the whole vibe of the room will come down and match what I'm playing. Yeah. And it's just just having that engagement. I read an article recently that really resounded with me. And it's about this, like the connection that the artist has with an audience and how if you're sort of, and many of us are, and I'm certainly still working on this myself, sort of unhealed as a human being, like you've had struggles in relationships and things. And you're like, if you have that void you want to fill, right? Sometimes as musicians, we seek that out in an audience. And it's almost like we want the audience to engage with us in a certain way to sort of like fill that like some kind of void within ourselves if we're unhealed. And I experienced some of that when I was first playing out, because I would be very discouraged if I didn't feel that connection with an audience. And I would also feel like, especially when I played with Of Conscious Mind, it was contrived. It felt forced many times. Felt like, okay, I have to make eye contact. Okay, I have to make a joke now. Okay, I have to, do. And so that was very stressful. And performances became stressful. And because I was seeking some kind of validation from performing, and I wanted that from the audience. The audience isn't there to give the listener isn't there to give the artist validation. The listener is there to share an experience, to share an energy. And so I had a lot of healing to do just in the last few years to really get myself to a place where I'm expressing myself fully and getting what I need out of it, just playing music.
Was there one specific moment that stood out for hey, I may not need the validation from the audience anymore. Like I now have things like back together on my end to
not
just
a
feel more
specific
comfortable.
moment. It was over time. I mean, and it took a lot of inner work. I started meditating. I made a lot of big changes in my life. And a lot of it was fueled by the fact that I wanted to be more healthy and have healthier relationships for myself and for my daughter, so she could see me having healthier relationships. And just like finding people that built me up rather than cut me down. Because I think when you're unhealed, you naturally attract people who are going to sort of like cut you down because it's like a familiarity, especially if you've experienced that in your childhood.
Sure.
So that was a huge personal journey for me. I'm still on that journey.
Right.
But I think now when I play, I get validation out of just playing music. And I get as much validation if I play to an audience, like a packed room, than if I play to my cat, And it's a very personal experience for me. And now I don't feel so pressured to do all the things.
Right.
And I'm thinking, there's a Buddhist teacher who once said,
Buddha.
Yeah, exactly. Trungpa Rinpoche, I think, maybe, was it, that said, what is meant to thrive will thrive in its own time. And I was contriving. I was trying to force, because I wanted to be a full-time musician.
Right.
I wanted these things. I desired them so greatly that I was trying to pull them out of the ether in this sort of aggressive way for myself to fill something that was missing. And so now that I've really started the healing process, and I say started because I think it's a lifelong process.
Oh yeah.
But it's much more balanced.
And change is such a challenging thing for a lot of people, but it's also like a necessary part of growing.
Yeah.
But I would imagine once you realize, hey, I'm doing this for me, and you kind of slow down the emotions. Like, so I've had to do this also too, in that, hey, if I just slow my speaking down, if I slow my playing down, like volume control, if I just like slow everything down and not feel like you're rushing through things, and you just kind of let things happen, then you feel happier. And also the audience catches on to that also too. We talking about like them catching on. If you're having a good time and you're mentally at peace while you're performing, then they actually kind of feel mentally at peace also as well too.
Direct
connection. And I don't know if you ever took that out of meditation practices or just classes or like anything, just, but there is some truth to it,
100%.
Slowing the process down makes a lot of situations like a lot better. And that actually, for this episode, is a great segue to, besides all of this, any inspirational advice you'd like to share the audience, to anyone that is listening that could be going through a rough time as a musician, or just in general? Anything else you want to add on that? Keep doing the thing.
That's advice from Kim Wilcox.
Yeah, shout out to Kim.
The Wheelers.
Yeah,
she said that to me when we check in with each other occasionally. My first stint into the music world in the Upper Valley was when she and Anthony Funari were running an open mic down at Time Out in Claremont. This was probably back in like 2012. And I was out playing with my good friend Brian Booth, who might very well be tuning into this when it went.
Yeah.
And so he was the first person I played out with. And so Kim and I, we've known each other for many years, and we'll check in occasionally and see how we're doing. And we see each other out and about. And
she's a fantastic artist also.
Oh, amazing. Too.
Yeah,
phenomenal. And just a great human to boot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so
got to know her at the Public House in Quechee from playing shows up there over the years.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, she's just great. And that's her quote is, keep doing the thing.
Keep doing the thing.
There you go. So that's, and even when it's hard, do the thing that you want to do, even when you don't want to do it.
Yeah. And that's a lifelong lesson of consistency. And that could be, doing a certain sport activity every single day, going to the gym every day, taking a walk every single day, like developing consistency patterns. Mm-hmm. That's good advice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gotten me through.
Last special shout out to anyone in particular?
Sure. Well, definitely Karis, my lovely 9-year-old daughter, who is just phenomenal and will definitely trump me in every way, I'm sure, as she grows up. And then she's very determined is the term I would use for her. She's an amazing
Determined
kid.
the right way.
Oh, yeah. She's got energy, man. She's going to blow us all out of the water.
Yeah.
I've been told by a friend that she might be president someday.
Or at least solve world peace, right?
Yeah, well, she knows how to ask for what she wants and get it.
Where's the cutoff point in what you can provide?
Right, that's as a parent.
You
it's
can't
like,
eat 2 full containers of cookies, just one.
Right,
Half. Yeah.
But mom.
But yeah, you're probably full-fledged into that.
But you said, I get that all the time. And I have a terrible memory.
Yeah,
so she gets me a lot. But, So
especially people that love the past. Oh, you remember this time? Remember that? Yeah.
It's like, it was like 3 days ago and you said this. And I'm like, I don't remember that. Well, I do.
Yeah. Well, I do. And it's like, okay, you getting a trophy out of that?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. What did you accomplish mentally in the moment with that?
Yeah.
And then when they get defensive, they're like, you don't understand. I'm like, no, actually I do, because I made you and I was you at one point.
Right.
So I do know what you're going through.
Yeah, because I did it all.
I love this joke. Well, it's not a joke, but it's a situation. We all have those people. I know we're guilty of saying this also as well too, where we have one particular person we associate with that they're a terrible storyteller, and every other one of their sentence ends with, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, if you actually said what I'm supposed to know what you mean, then I can say, yes, I do know what you mean. Until then, if I don't know what you mean, I can't agree with you. You know what I mean?
Need more information.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Lastly, remind the audience again where they can find you and all your lovely work, Beth.
Absolutely. So I'm on YouTube at Musing Monroe. There we go. This is the red light. I'm on YouTube. At Musing Monroe.
Don't stare at that light over there. Yeah.
Right? And then I'm on Instagram at musing_Monroe, and I'm on Facebook at Beth Monroe Music.
And please, she has a YouTube channel. Subscribe.
Yes, please subscribe
to her
to my YouTube channel.
Yes. Also, subscribe to Okemo Valley TV's YouTube channel as well. To check out okemovalley.tv and my website, sammybmusic.com, for when this episode will be released at another time. Beth, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Keep doing the thing.
Keep doing the thing.
And I think we had fun talking all the stuff.
Absolutely.
I had fun jamming on your originals also too.
Awesome.
Thank you for being a part of episode 29 of the Tasty Twist.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, we're going to have you back again someday. Guys, this has been a pleasure. We'll see you all again. Thank you, Okemo Valley TV. I'm Sammy Blanchette. Have a great rest of your day. Don't you worry now, my darling. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this episode of The Tasty Twist with Sammy B. You can watch all the episodes of this podcast on Okemo Valley TV's YouTube channel. Please like and subscribe. You can visit their website, okemovalley.tv, consider downloading their mobile app, or watch them on live television via VTEL, channel 166 and 167, Comcast 1076 and 1086. Are you interested in supporting a local media station? Please consider becoming a member today. Visit okemovalley.tv for more information.